You're listening to Bros. Let's Talk.
Hey yo, it's Bros. Let's Talk. Pat here with Jimmy, Andy. What's up, dudes? How's everyone's weekend?
Hey, failers.
Hey, I'm breathing. A lot of driving.
Breathing. So Andy went to Pittsburgh yesterday and just told us that he basically has spent 16 of the last, 30 or so hours driving probably.
Yeah,
But
a lot, but I'm here.
he's here. He's a trooper. We appreciate his efforts as always. Jim, you did not do as much traveling or movement this weekend. You were just laying low at home.
Yep, I haven't left the house since Wednesday. Wednesday? Yes, the day after I lost my taste and smell and got tested for COVID and found out Thursday that I do in fact have it.
So this also resulted in me having to stay home because we hung out on Sunday. I feel fine, so it's pretty much just been awesome for me. I haven't lost my taste or smell, and I've just been home. So hopefully everything stays that way. I had a fantastic weekend doing nothing.
Good. Yeah.
I did too.
I watched the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy, yearly tradition. So good. Oh, it's the best. It really is the best. It's
so good. It really is.
All three.
What's your
movies,
favorite?
I was thinking about this earlier. It's so hard because, like, in the Two Towers, the Battle of Helm's Deep is just phenomenal. It's just it's probably the best war scene ever, or battle scene. But I think I'm gonna go with the Two Towers. Like, Return of the King's awesome. The only thing is the four endings. It just kind of gets to me how it there's like four different spots where the movie can end.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it just keeps going, especially in the extended edition, which we normally watch, but we didn't watch this time because I figured out how to get HBO Max on my TV finally. So that was a big step this weekend because my TV is too old to add new apps like that because it's like 2016, so it's like just off the threshold. And I have a Fire Stick, which Amazon doesn't have a deal in place with I'm blanking, with HBO Max.
With HBO Max.
Same with Roku.
But an Amazon Fire Stick is basically just an Android powered thing. So you can turn this one setting off where you can get this downloader app and then just download the app from the internet, and it works like normal on the Fire
So
Stick.
Lord of the Rings is on HBO Max?
Yes, all
I
three.
did not know that.
Yes.
That's great.
So yeah,
Love that.
and that was awesome. I watched also, obviously, we're going to talk, it's Mando Monday, so we're going to talk Mandalorian. But because of this week's episode, I also watched the Clone Wars movie and the first 7 episodes of the first season of Clone Wars. And it's pretty good. So I'm enjoying that. Did a lot of screen time this weekend.
Good.
A lot
You're
of
welcome.
screen time. Thanks, Jim.
You're
Appreciate it. Big time. Big time. Before we jump in to Mando Monday, I wanted to bring up something that we texted about a couple weeks ago. And now we've had a couple weeks to kind of let the thoughts fester. And it was reignited in my mind the other day because Alyssa was watching this movie, Adrift. Anyway, is there anything more distracting to the human eye than hard nipples showing through a t-shirt?
It's definitely up there.
Yeah, it's for sure up there. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
I threw out,
and it's not gender specific, even though both of my examples are women. Like,
right.
If a dude,
male might be worse.
Agreed.
Right? It's just so obvious. And it's funny. What originally made me think of this is a couple weeks ago I was watching Stool Streams, and PFT was playing ping pong against Hank, and Jake and Nick Tarani were doing the announcing, and Nick Tarani kept pointing out that PFT's nipples were hard, and he's like, PFT commenter, more like PFT protruding from top. His nipples are so hard. And then that's what, like, and then I started, whenever we watch Friends, that was the one big example. Like, Rachel's always got hard nipples, and that was like, everyone always pointed that out. But this movie Alyssa was watching, Adrift, it's basically about these couple that get caught in a storm on a sailboat, and they're caught adrift. And like the first scene, she's coming out of this wreckage, and only thing I notice is how hard her nipples are on her shirt. And it's not like, I'm sure the scene was good, but it was just so distracting. I don't think there's any, like, that's not my fault. Okay.
In a movie or TV, I would probably agree with that as the most distracting thing that could possibly be on there, because if somebody one of the examples that I threw out was food in the teeth or a booger in your nose.
Food in the teeth are really good.
Like that's going to get cleaned up in a movie or TV. So I think you're right on that aspect. Anything on camera, I think that probably is the most distracting thing. In person though, I also said lazy eye.
See,
Lazy eye is a good one.
Food in the teeth opens up a whole nother argument to where do you say something? Because it's like, if you notice it, you have to say it right away, because the longer the conversation goes on,
You're just going to keep staring at it.
And then if you end up saying something, they'll know that they've had it there the whole time. It's not like it just appeared out of nowhere. Right. It's been there the whole time. And it's always an awkward thing to just be like, oh, sorry, you have something in your teeth. You just go look in a mirror one time after you eat.
It's awkward, but I would rather someone tell me so I could correct
That's
it.
true.
I'd feel awkward for a second, but I'd feel so much worse. Like how I feel like an idiot when I get in the car and I'll notice that, oh my God, I had something in my tooth. How many people noticed? Did anyone notice? I'd rather just feel awkward and get it over with.
I feel like I have to be very close to the person to tell them.
That's true too. The relationship,
close, like physically or close.
I would tell you guys if you had food in your teeth.
Right.
That's probably the extent of where I would put my circle out. Anyone else, you're out on an island. Sorry.
I think so too. Like if I'm like at the table with a bunch of acquaintances and somebody has something, there's no way I'm telling them, like, and embarrassing them in front of personal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then the entire table.
God, it's such a tough.
Or a complete stranger. Like,
oh no,
no way.
No,
definitely not.
I'm not telling a stranger shit.
It depends how much I like the person. You know, if I hate you, I'm probably just gonna let it sit there and hope that no one ever tells you. That's probably a good judge of like if you can tell how much people like you or not. If you get home and there's shit stuck in your teeth and you've talked to like 10 different people probably don't like you. But if you go throughout the conversation, maybe you get to like 2 or 3 and someone finally says something, you can write off those other people, but at least you got one true friend out there who told you that you had artichoke dip in your teeth or whatever it is. It's always something leafy that gets stuck.
Oh yeah.
Big time. Okay. So I guess we'll just jump in to Mando Mondays, which prepared a little bit of a sound bit for it this week, guys. That's why our EP Dick Asman's here. I'm sure you guys were wondering. You know, he just likes to come and go as he pleases. But now that Sean's not with us, he'll be making some appearances.
Oh, Pat, real quick. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I saw your Facebook post about how Sean moves to Germany and already has a new friend named Pat Riley.
That's so funny.
That is awesome.
What are the odds?
Is like, gosh.
What are the odds?
Feel any more kick to the curb? Like the dude he just left. My goodness.
Couldn't kick a man harder when he was down than when I saw that.
And he spells it wrong.
I know.
The worst
spelling. At least we have Mando Mondays.
Yes, we do.
12 o'clock already, I was just in the middle of a dream. Baby Yoda eating eggs by a spider-infested cave that made you scream. But you can't be late, 'cause then we'll spoil the fate. These are the days where Favreau's plotlines dominate. It's just another Mando Monday. I wish it were every day, but this is the way. Recap of the episode day. It's just another Mando Monday.
Mando Monday. Hashtag Mando Monday.
Very nice.
Yeah.
You have had a
love
lot of
that.
time on your hand the past week.
Oh yeah, that took me 10 minutes, but
Very nice. I love that.
and I've had that circulating in the head for a while. At least a song to that tune with that name. So
Love
Yeah.
it.
just had to listen to the lyrics, put it together. But that's not what this is about. Okay, Mando Monday is about the Mandalorian, and this week, episode 3 of
Spoilers
season
ahead.
2, chapter 11, the Heiress. Heavy spoilers ahead.
Yes.
As the
heavy
song
spoilers.
pointed out, don't be late or else we'll spoil the fate. So that's what that part meant.
Yes.
So spoilers. Great episode. Chapter 11, the Heiress. Followed up, Andy, you weren't on last week's episode, but Jimmy and I talked about how right after the premiere, and we were talking up the Mandalorian for being awesome and never having filler episodes or filler moments. It basically had a filler episode, which was fine. It was fun. It was whatever, but it was just from what we've had so far, it was one of my least favorite episodes, followed up by maybe one of my favorite episodes. Just a lot of cool characters introduced. I guess we'll just do a quick recap and then talk our thoughts. Basically, Mando just continues his search for other Mandalorians, reunites the frog lady with her husband. He points Mando in the direction of someone who can find other Mandalorians. It's these squid-looking pirate dudes. I don't know their official term.
Yar.
And they offer to take Mando, and it's basically a trap. They try and drown him and Baby Yoda. Other Mandalorians show up, save the day, but then they take their helmets off, and it ends up being Bo-Katan, who is a major player in the Clone Wars series. She tells her story in this, but she's from the planet Mandalore, and she was a citizen, I think is what she said, before the Mandalorians took over. So she's trying to restore the planet back to what it was when she lived there. She basically offers him again, the typical Mandalorian plot line. She offers him information in exchange for his help to hijack some weapons from a Republic or an Imperial ship. And then when they're on the mission, it ends up turning into she wants to steal the ship. So Mando's pissed because it's not what he bargained for, but whatever, he goes along with it.
Yes.
They kill a bunch of droids, bunch of badass fashion, and basically she's after Moff Gideon trying to get the Darksaber so she can take control of Mandalore. The episode ends with her offering Mando the information. She tells him to go to, I wrote it down here, the planet Corvus in the city of Caladan to meet Ahsoka Tano, who is one of the main characters of the Clone Wars and Anakin Skywalker's Padawan. So,
Rumored to be played by Rosario Dawson.
correct, which
Yes.
would be a great casting because she's awesome in pretty much everything she's in. So
Yep.
that's why I watched a bunch of Clone Wars stuff this weekend. But as we mentioned, I'll just open the floor to you guys now. I thought it was a great episode. Thoughts, fun parts. What was your favorite? Let's hear it.
So my initial thought was when I turned it on, it said it was 35 minutes. And I'm like, 35 minutes? First episode was like 55. Second was like 40 some, like 35. But they didn't waste any time. There was no bullshit with this. It was boom from the get-go. And I thought it was just really well done. I thought there was little pieces of comedy in there, which they do when they were talking about how the stormtroopers couldn't hit. I forget what he said, but
Broadside of a bantha.
yes, how he alluded to how bad the stormtroopers are at shooting, and then you're on the ship and you see just how god awful they are. But it was just action packed from start to finish. I absolutely loved it. I think it progressed the story nicely. I'm psyched to see what comes next.
I actually wrote down real quick, Andy, that this might have been the first confirmed shots by a stormtrooper in this episode when Mando was running those bombs up. He actually, got hit. It was the first time I think they might have connected the whole series.
It's a valid point. I mean, the entirety of Star Wars, it's seemingly
But I love how they
Yes.
joke about it like that. Like you said, Jim, they
Right.
definitely like point out the fact that that's intentional.
Yeah. Well, they joked about it in the first season. I think when Jason Sudeikis was a stormtrooper, and they're on the side of the road with Baby Yoda, and they're taking target practice, and they can't hit anything. It's just so funny.
I really enjoyed this episode. Like you guys said, action packed, lots of Star Wars lore with linking it to Clone Wars and whatnot. I kind of likened this to a bridge episode because you know that it's named Bo-Katan, right?
Yes.
You know that she's going to come back because she's going for Moff Gideon. Moff Gideon's clearly trying to get at Mando, sorry. So you know those paths are going to cross at some point again. And then obviously you're opening it up to more Clone Wars lore in the search for the Jedi on the Mandalorian's quest. It'll be interesting. I hope that they have Ahsoka in a lot, because she's an awesome character in Clone Wars. And the character progression in that show is really, really cool. And if you guys haven't watched it yet, I know you guys are. Jimmy, have you watched
Clone Wars yet? Yeah. No, not yet.
For anyone that hasn't watched it, I highly recommend it. It's a cartoon, like at its core. And it was originally made for children. And I think because it got so popular with adults, it really evolved into, I don't want to say an adult cartoon, but it definitely went deeper than just a kind of Saturday morning cartoon that was Star Wars based, which is how I think they wanted it to start. So the tie-ins to the Star Wars world is awesome in that show. And now it looks like Mandalorian is going to go right along that route. So yeah, there's so many characters and so many different stories that are in that kind of realm that I'm really interested to see what they start to loop in.
And it makes coming up on episode 4, so it'll be halfway through season 2 already. So they're gonna have to start really progressing episodes, which is great. I mean, that's what we want.
It makes sense that they're starting to tie in Clone Wars too, because Dave Filoni is the supervising director on that show, and he's the executive producer on this show. He's directed a few episodes.
He's the brains of everything. Favreau has his name on everything, but Filoni is the guy that is making everything.
Right. He's kind of like the historian of Star Wars.
Right.
He knows like everything about everyone.
And Disney knows that they fucked up with the new trilogy. It did not go over like they wanted to do. In fact, so bad that there's talks about them
erasing it from like the timeline.
Yes, from it just being
or like
gone.
Separating it,
Yes. So now they have this, Andy, like you alluded to, they had this show that started off as wanted to be almost a mindless Star Wars show for kids to watch, and got so popular that they changed the direction. Well, now you have The Mandalorian, which is tying into the show. So they are going to you guys said this after episode 1. You could tell just from the CGI alone how much money is being sunk into this show now to make it look like a true Star Wars TV show. Like it would fit in with the original 3 movies. So they're definitely going to start, I think, really broadening this show out and probably leading it honestly to other shows would be my assumption, and just branch off as far as you can, because you goofed with the new trilogy, and now you have a chance to kind of rein it back in and kind of do what you want. And I think that's what's going to happen eventually.
They have the right people,
and they're off to a great start. Yes, agreed. I agree.
Honestly, I just feel like at this point in time, it's almost shifting this way, but especially in Star Wars, I just feel like series are the better way to tell this story, because there's so much to the universe that it's almost whoever has an opportunity to make a movie, they're trying to pack so much into 2.5, maybe 3 hours at the most. And then you run the risk of kind of either alienating true fans because, you went the Disney route is the complaint that everyone has, or you just kind of lose sense of any plot line because you're just trying to jam as much Star Wars stuff into one movie. Whereas with a series, you have time to spread it out over 8 episodes or whatever, 10 episodes, and kind of let it.
You have an ending point that you can use to kind of jump to the next
exactly
quote unquote story.
Talk about the Disney route all you want. The reason we in the majority of the world is so obsessed with the whole Avengers series is because it was amazing storytelling. It was over 10 years from when Iron Man was introduced until the end of the Avengers movies. They introduced all these characters, gave them their backstories, and showed you how they fit into the grand scheme of the story they were trying to tell. So people can make fun of Disney way all they want. They know how to storytell.
And you think about it too. Honestly, a year ago, when Disney Plus came out, just over a year ago, they had been talking about it forever. It finally came to that point, and basically all they had to sell was that they had Marvel movies, Star Wars stuff, but they didn't have any new, or the only original content piece that they had was The Mandalorian. And it was so good that it basically carried its Disney Plus subscriptions into the first year, gave them more time to bring on more stuff and incorporate it, gave these other shows that Marvel has and more time to develop. The Obi-Wan show has kind of been delayed in production, but it looks like it's a go still. And this show has been so good that it's allowed them to kind of, I don't know if that was the plan in the first place, but it's given them a breather to the point that they can kind of, that won Emmys last year.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's so good.
And to piggyback off that, Pat, rave reviews I've been reading about for WandaVision. And we talked about this, I don't even know, a while ago, and I had no idea up until we talked about it, but it's almost set like a sitcom, where I was reading they did so much research on new and old sitcoms that this show is going to be unlike anything we've ever seen before.
It's very different.
Very different.
The trailer, you kind of just walk away not knowing what you're going to get.
Right.
What is this show?
Right.
How does this fit into these two being a part of the Avengers?
Right.
But it's based off one of the comics, and supposedly people love that comic storyline. So, I trust Marvel. I don't even question them ever.
100%.
Anything.
Me too. Yeah.
Full trust in Kevin. In Kevin, we trust. Love that guy.
You guys see Chris Pratt was officially put on?
Added to Thor: Love and Thunder.
I did not see that.
Yeah.
Wow. That movie.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
That movie is that could be something.
Yeah.
It is going to be something. Based on
something special.
Ragnarok and having Taika Waititi back.
Yes, that's
direct. Huge. It's going to be pretty
He hasn't
good.
done an episode yet, right?
He's not.
Of this season, last season he did.
Bryce Dallas Howard directed this
one. Yeah, that was really good.
Really good. Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, so just so excited for, like you said, Jim, we're almost halfway through second season here already. Just excited to see how it unfolds. It's funny that you mentioned, I didn't even notice the time when I started the episode. I just hit play and it just felt like it went so much faster, but that makes sense. And I was wondering, because last season they were pretty consistently 40 to 45 minute episodes, and the first two this season were closer to an hour. So I thought maybe they had expanded to.
Which is what we've talked about is cool, because you watch network TV and there's a formula, right? It's 43, 44 minutes, 16 minutes of commercials. There's 22 to 25 episodes. Half of them are filler episodes. We loved how Netflix with Daredevil and the Punishers, 13 episodes. Again, hardly ever any filler. And they would range from 40 to 80 and anywhere in between. They're mostly around 50-ish, whatever. But I just think it's cool how they kind of they've done away with it.
I actually thought that Marvel could have trimmed some of those seasons.
Sure, but still, 13 cut down from 24 is you're not getting
nearly
as much of the fluff as you are with network TV.
Well, it just kind of depends too. So, like Andy mentioned Clone Wars, and I love that you brought that up, because I texted Jimmy and said, I feel kind of funny as a 30-year-old man watching a kid's cartoon, but honestly, the story is really good still.
Also, Pat's a dad in training, so naturally you have to start watching cartoons again.
Well,
Sure.
this is my. I told Jimmy this is my in. Alyssa is not a Star Wars fan, so that hurts me to the core. This is how I get the baby girl
Oh yeah.
in on Clone Wars when I'm up early with her on the weekends. Baby Bjorn on the front, Clone Wars on the TV.
You
We're
got
chilling.
that right.
It's gonna be great. But they're 22, 25-minute episodes, and I powered through 7 episodes pretty easily yesterday, just sitting around. And
it
it's
gets better from a less feeling like a kid show.
okay. But
Pat,
even so, I
also-
enjoyed it as is.
Mhm.
Also, I'd say probably around like March, April, when the baby's like 2-3 months old, you start hinting, hey, for Halloween next year, Baby Yoda, Mando, you can be whoever you want. But start hinting now. Like, give her some time
like that.
to be okay with that idea. You know,
Dude.
oh, you could have her be who could you have her be?
Bro-Katan.
There
Boom,
you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Perfect. So
Dude,
just
the-
start hinting now.
the carrier stroller that we have kind of looks like Baby Yoda's pod
Dude,
when you
I was
pull
just
the
gonna
little
say
flap up.
if anybody could come up with that costume, it's you.
I could do it.
And you have over a year to start working on it. No, you have 11 and a half months to start working on it.
Okay. I like that. I like that a lot.
All right, good.
We'll circle back to that one, but I do like that a lot. So we're going to move on to not as fun news
Ugh.
from this past week, and reports swirled and then were confirmed that Tony La Russa, new White Sox manager, was arrested of DUI back in February and
Correct.
convicted the day before the White Sox hired him as their 43rd manager, I think, in team history. And just already kind of a malign decision because they didn't go through a normal interview process. There was other good, younger, more in tune candidates available. So to have this on top of it, to find out that the White Sox knew about it and were okay with it, and then basically didn't really comment on it at all, while being mixed in with a week where Jose Abreu was named MVP of the American
Which was
League.
awesome and well deserved.
Yeah, so it kind of just adds to the shitstorm that is the Tony La Russa signing so far, and something that's already kind of been looked at as a black eye before this was reported just is starting to look even worse by the day. And Andy and I are both Sox fans, so Andy, I'll throw it over to you first. I know you weren't crazy about the hire at the beginning anyway. I was kind of able to talk myself into it, but what do the Sox even do now? Do they just
Reports are saying that they are doing nothing about it.
yeah?
Which is kind of shocking from a PR standpoint. Because usually with these kind of arrests, while granted he didn't hurt anyone, he didn't get into an accident or anything like that, there's usually some sort of punishment. So I would be shocked if the MLB didn't come down and maybe give him some sort of suspension. But the Sox sound like they are not doing anything. They are standing put with their decision to hire him, which I guess I get. You spent the first, whatever it was, 2 weeks trying to convince people that this is the guy, and and then the news comes out that he gets a DUI and you knew about it. It's hard to kind of backpedal on that.
Yeah.
So I'm not shocked by the fact that they're not going to do anything, but it's certainly, like you said, it doesn't help anything. There was a big question mark along with it, and now it's just any hint of, I mean, you said it yourself. You were trying to convince yourself that this was a good hire. They're not doing any favors, like with the casual person trying to sell themselves on that.
And because Jerry said he wanted nothing to do with AJ Hinch because he was a cheater, And now it's like, okay,
Now
so
you've got a fucking
so-
alcoholic.
Right. So, and because this is his second DUI over the course
Right.
of his
Well,
life.
and it's not just that. The details that came out from the arrest just made it look so much
Yeah.
worse. He basically
Yes.
pulled the, do you know who I am?
Right.
I'm a Hall of Famer baseball person.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
That's
my
the
favorite.
best- that's
I'm a
the
Hall of
best
Famer
line.
baseball person. So you're hammered. And then she just showed him his ring, just every like,
And called him brother.
and turned into Hulk Hogan. So
Right.
I don't mind that part as much. We could maybe use Hulk Hogan's passion in the dugout there. But again, just everything about this move was questioned at the beginning. His age, his being out of the game for so long, just kind of his old school views on everything in such a new school game and with such a young roster. And then for this to be the first thing that happens, newsworthy thing that happens with him as your manager, it's just like, okay, is this how this is going to go? Tony La Russa is going to be here for 2 years. He's going to be pissed drunk half the time. And then he's just going to leave when he decides he's old as shit and doesn't want to do this anymore.
So that's the not only, but okay. First of all, Jose Abreu said he called Albert Pujols. Pujols told him he's a great guy to play for, and Abreu said, "I trust Albert. I respect Albert. I look up to him. If he says he's a good guy to play for, I can't wait to meet him." So it's good that you have the AL MVP and leader of your team coming out now showing some kind of support. Yes, go ahead.
While he did come out and say that, there was zero excitement in that line of questioning.
Yes,
When the rest of his interview was all about his MVP.
Yes, agreed. I did
It
notice
was
that
not
too.
like a
No, it was
we're
no.
excited about this.
It was, I'm the leader of this team. I'm trying to talk
Exactly.
myself into this,
Yes.
so I'm going to tell you. Again, it could all be for nothing, right? If the Sox go out and win 95
Sure.
games and make it to the second round or the ALCS or even the World Series and they lose, this is all for nothing. They had so much momentum, right? They had the premier job, and you could have had the pick of whoever the hell you wanted for this job, and you chose Tony La Russa, which just seems weird. Maybe it does. Maybe he's good. Maybe he's great. It just seems like, again, I think for me as a non-Sox fan, to see you guys have a brilliant mind in Rick Hahn, top 5 in baseball, maybe even top 3. And to see him undercut again when he finally got his way, and his way worked. His way worked. Look what he did for this team. And then to undercut the guy again because you feel bad about a mistake you made 30 years ago is like, Jerry, come on, man. Like, let the guy do his job.
Jim, you nailed it on the head with they had so much momentum. The Sox were a boulder rolling down a really steep inclined hill.
Yes, they were.
And they were about to crush everything in their way. And now they've hit a little bit of a plateau, it feels like. As you mentioned, this could mean nothing, but this was the top job available this offseason. There was a rare opportunity now, albeit the reason behind it is a little bit sketchy, but there was a rare opportunity to hire 2 recent World Series winning managers within the last 5 years that were both available. Hell, Bruce Bochy is only 63 years old. If
they could have got Bruce Bochy, that's the fucking move over everybody.
I heard that he didn't express like actual interest in coming out of retirement, but I heard that he was intrigued by the White Sox roster.
That would have been the move.
So you look at what they end up going with. Okay, it's like Bochy's 63. You could have probably, and then so that's 3 World Series winning managers from the past 5 years, we'll say then.
Right.
And you just basically tunnel vision, like you said, Jim, went with your guy. After Rick Hahn sat up there the day after they fired Renteria and said that this wasn't going to be an insular hire. They went out and made an insular hire. It just
because of Jerry.
Yes, and you could just sense Rick Hahn's tone and disappointment. And
I don't blame him one bit.
And to your point, Andy, about Abreu, Anderson did an interview after he won the Silver Slugger, and in similar vein, I wouldn't say didn't sound as excited, but just didn't sound excited, but like he just
answered the questions.
Exactly. He didn't sound like he hated him, but it was just like he basically said he was going to be who he was, and he was but he did.
As he should.
He said, he's like, and yeah, I'll celebrate and bat flip, if Tony allows it. So he right there, it was kind of a joking manner, but I think he also senses that La Russa is a smart baseball guy, and that could be enough to earn his respect as a manager.
Right.
But again, it's just not a good look, and it's just you had
Just
all this
feels like
momentum.
they're starting the race with a flat tire.
Right.
Yeah.
And now, so you mentioned
Yes,
the
it's
Sox don't look like
deflating.
they're going to do anything, but there is potential he could get suspended or fined by the league. What if La Russa suspended the first 10 games this year because of his DUI? That you hire
Right.
this guy and he's not there the first 10
Right.
games or whatever because
Right.
he's a drunk driver. And again, we live in a day and age where anybody has access to a ride home at their fingertips,
Literally
regardless
at
of
your
how old you
fingertips.
are. And in his status, he's a millionaire. He's
Many
a Hall of
times
Fame
over.
baseball. What did he say again? A Hall of Fame baseball,
Baseball person.
Person,
You
brother.
could easily get a ride from anyone. So that's a choice. And that's kind of, again, that's all personal stuff. So that as long as he's a good manager, I think that's what matters most. But still, you don't want your manager to be a dickhead.
Now, Sox, to me, in order to make this not go away, but to soften the blow, you got to go out and you got to sign Trevor Bauer or George Springer. You have to. You have to go out and get one of those big name free agents and say, we're going for gold here. Like, we're fucking going for it. You
I don't
have
think
to.
so.
You don't think so?
It's just how I feel about it.
Do you think they'll try?
I think they'll try for Bauer. Bauer
Sorry.
on his YouTube channel.
Yeah, he said
Basically-
he's not. He
basically
he's
said
against
it's like
judging people without knowing them.
It's a non-issue for him. Stroman
Right.
straight up said that he wouldn't
Yeah,
come
he's-
play for La Russa.
Right.
So, and he re-signed with the Mets anyway.
He
But-
resigned.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
But
but
Bauer, he didn't rule it out. He basically said he's like, and I don't play for the White Sox, and maybe I will next year, maybe I won't. But he just kind of jokes around with everyone. So,
right. So, Andy, I guess let me clarify my question. If the Sox go after either of them, are you upset if they throw as much money as they can, or if they go about it like in the White Sox way, like here's our limit, here's the years.
See,
Here's
that's
the-
what
here's the
that's
amount
what
of
I think
money,
is going to
that's it.
happen.
Okay, so they're gonna act like they went for him, but not really go for him.
That's what I think. Kind of like what happened with Machado, to where it sounded like it was almost a sure thing that
Yeah.
Machado was going to come there, and then you hear that they threw out this lowball offer that really wasn't even considering the other offer that was out there by San Diego.
Right.
That's what I expect. I think Jerry is going to kind of, and I hope that Han still has his finger on the pulse of everything that's going on and still has a say and can throw his dick around a little bit. But I have a feeling that Jerry's going to kind of put out that message that, like, if people want to come here, they'll take a contract. Like,
See,
Yeah.
I
have to
kind
throw
of,
money at them.
I'm kind of the
I
thought
guess I
that
understand that a little
that
bit.
Jerry realizes that this team is probably his last chance to win another championship before he dies.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 83 years old. This team has, I would say, at least right now a 5-year window to where they should be able to compete for and possibly win championships.
Yep.
So at the
Sounds
end of
about
that
right.
window, that's going to put him at 88 years old. But I guess he
Good
hasn't
Lord,
shown.
he might die the same year as La Russa.
How funny it would be if they died and then ownership got shifted and then the Sox win the next year.
Oh,
And that wouldn't be
wild.
funny actually if they died, I guess, but it would be a
Obviously,
relief.
That's not wanted, but
It would be a relief for Sox fans, maybe. But I'm hoping that's how he's looking at this. This is my last chance before I die.
I mean, I hope so
But
I
I
too.
don't know.
Obviously, not we're not wishing death upon him, but
Right.
I understand what you're saying.
I just mean because of
He's
how
older.
old he is.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, first of all, this pandemic aside, hopefully by the time baseball comes back, that place is going to be packed every game. I know the joke is Sox fans, you can't pack your stadium. That stadium will be fucking packed. Let me tell you right now. So you're gonna make your if you can get in, you're gonna make your money there. They have great food. Everyone's got great beer and liquor. They should have no problem, again, pandemic aside, if they can allow people back in, making the money. So go get your guys. Go get them. I mean, Andy, you said this when we talked about it a couple weeks ago. They can compete, but they're still one, maybe two guys away from putting them over the top. If you go out and you get a Bauer or even a Springer, if you got both, I mean, Jesus, you're clear favorites, I think, in baseball to win the whole thing. But go spend some money and try and win. Scared money don't make money. Go spend those billions you have and go win a World Series.
So this is kind of an interesting thought that I just had. As an owner, is your main, so obviously your main goal is to make your team good enough so that people want to come and watch.
Mm-hmm.
Is your main goal as an owner to win?
Should be.
That's what Steve Cohen came out and said at his Mets presser. I mean, if did you hear that at all?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. But
oh, you should check it out. He was basically like, this is not a job to make money. I make plenty of money. I'm gonna fucking sink everything I have into this team.
yeah,
and I want to win.
I don't know if I get that vibe from Jerry.
Oh,
Definitely
no, not at all.
No, he runs everything as a business.
Right,
and that's why he was leading the charge against Steve Cohen.
Yes.
Because he's a cheap bastard and didn't want this guy coming in who will do anything to win, basically. Whereas Jerry is not willing to sacrifice that bottom line in order to win. It's all about the profit for him, which sucks because we've suffered as Bulls and Sox fans because of it our whole lives.
But man, Bulls, I mean, to kind of just skip off beat for a second. I text Danny and Matt the other day. I am as excited for the Bulls as a Bulls fan I have been in about 10 years.
Well, it's a good
Just
transition.
because-
That was next up on our list. So let's just, Ann Reinsdorf owns the Bulls, even though
Right.
but they
He's a damn successful owner. 7 championships.
the Bulls did one
You
of
know?
the fastest franchise turnarounds in recent memory. From 6 months ago, we were the laughing stock of the league, complaining about Jim Boylan being the worst coach.
Teams would laugh at our team
every
on their
single
way to the locker
episode.
room.
We would complain about guard packs and everything, and now we have new front office completely. Basically, John Paxton's still around, but
Clearly has no input on
AK
anything.
took over. Mark Eversley came in. We brought in Billy Donovan.
Who hired Mo Cheeks?
I mean, it's been insane.
Mo Cheeks as an assistant is better than any Bulls coach we've had since Tibbs. I mean, we completely revamped.
And now we have the 4th pick in the draft this Thursday, albeit a weaker draft class by
I thought it was Wednesday.
Standards. Is it Wednesday?
I'm pretty sure it was Wednesday. Thursday. Let me check. I'm on it. Go ahead.
I feel like drafts are normally
I thought they were usually Thursdays.
Agreed, but I thought it was the
NFL
18th, which is a Wednesday.
Maybe you're right.
It's Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday. Huh. Okay. Bulls have the 4th pick. There was some talk that maybe they were trying to put a package together to trade up to the 2nd pick to try and get either LaMelo Ball or Anthony Edwards, whoever's available. I haven't seen anything more about that, so I don't know how much there is to any of that stuff. And now it's starting to look like the top few, at least, it's going to be chalk. Like the 3 guys at top are going to go in that.
Bella,
in those 3
Wiseman, and
spots.
Edwards. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know about the order, but those 3 will be gone. So the Bulls, unless they trade, will most likely be looking at Obi Toppin or
that's who I want them to take.
Devi, what's his name? Desi.
I don't want to be part of that guy. Hold on, I'm looking at it right now. Devi. Sorry, Denny.
See, but he feels like
Avdija.
He just feels like such a carnivorous player. He's very carnivician.
You might be right. And you know what? If they take him, if they take Lonzo Ball, who I want no part of at all.
LaMelo.
Sorry, LaMelo Ball, I want no part of. However, I am not going to go into this draft being like, oh, they fucked up. If they decide to take LaMelo Ball have at it. Whoever they take, I'm in. I'm ready to roll.
There's still time to fuck up.
See, but
Exactly,
here's the thing:
right.
we have hope because this is a new regime.
Right.
I believe in
Exactly.
this regime.
This team traded up to take Doug McDermott.
That's true.
That was Garpax.
But that was
This is a
Garpax.
new day
Also-
and age.
Also,
New
I
day
am
and age.
convinced we have talent on this team already. It just was not used correctly.
True.
Agree with that.
Very true. Jim Boylan was the coach.
Terrible.
It was just, what are you going to do with that?
He had a 7-foot Larry Markkinen just wait over there in the corner, shoot a three. He would not let Zach LaVine shoot a mid-range shot, and Zach LaVine was like, "That's part of my game," and he's like, "Well, that's not what we do in this offense," and he's like, "But that's basketball. Well, you can't do that." So imagine leading a fast break, and you have to stop and take a three, or stop and look for someone because you can't shoot from the elbow. That's what Jim Boylan did to our players. So I'm not saying we're a playoff team. I'm saying we will be in games with the talent we have. And we're about to add some talent come the draft. I'm fucking in on this team. I'm excited.
I'm for the first time in a while, I'm excited about Bulls basketball.
Yes.
I think the timing of everything I think was good too, because you could sense the relief the players had when Jim Boylan was gone.
Big time.
Especially from Zach LaVine, like you said, but you could just sense. And then when Billy Donovan got hired, just all the comments talking about how they basically just felt like they had a real coach and a guy who players like to play for.
Yep.
And they've had all this time now. And I'm sure the players have been talking and just kind of getting each other pumped up and ready to come back and go at it. And especially in a situation like the Bulls seemed like they were in.
Yep.
Moves like these, it can go a long way towards players, just rejuvenating them to like want to play basketball again. Because playing for a guy like Jim Boylan, who clearly wasn't qualified for the position that he was in, when you're in the NBA, like you don't want to be messing around. You know, you don't want to be treated like a college player or a high school player, which is what Jim Boylan would do. You're getting paid money to play. You're not going to sit around and do some high school shit. You're just not going to do that. And that's not the way that you're going to get players to buy in.
So up until the regime changed, the Bulls had the smallest front office in the NBA, to where they had no guys who were just about player development. We now have three people whose only job is player development.
I like that.
I mean, we are getting to a more like 2020.
Yeah, 21st century front office.
Front office. Yes, thank you.
Has there been any? So Pat, I saw the same thing about them potentially trading up to number 2. Have they said what that would cost?
Some of the stuff I saw was the number 2 pick, or it was the number 4 pick, and Carter, Wendell Carter, was what I was seeing. And I think
want to give up on him yet.
That's probably why some of that stuff has cooled off a little bit, because I don't think they want to part ways with him yet. I agree, Jim. I still have I think he could be a good player, but I don't know how high of a ceiling he has, to be honest. Yeah. I know that the NBA has kind of changed where it's like more normal to have smaller lineups, but he's only 6'9" as a center. And I know he's still young, so he could maybe grow another inch or two.
He's got to play.
He's got to play. He's glass right now, and that's
healthy.
Yeah. And that's just the thing. And you know, guys like that, they could have all the potential in the world, but we've seen it tons of times before, especially with big guys. If you keep getting hurt like that, it just wears on you.
Yep.
So hopefully he can bounce. But I think that's what maybe is holding things up right now.
I also think we're going to know a lot about the Bulls' intentions come in 3 days from now. Zach LaVine has 2 years left on his deal. So if he's not traded, to me, that means he's in their long-term plans. That means you're going to re-sign him after this year to, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5-year extension, whatever. Bulls have a very young team. I'm guessing they're going to have plenty of cap space also. So we're going to learn a lot about this team in the next 96 or 48 hours, 60, whatever it is, the draft. We're going to learn a lot about where this franchise is headed, not only this year, but in years to come. And I'm just excited for it. I'm super excited to see what's going to happen, because this town is great. I mean, it's great for the town when the Bulls are exciting, and the Bulls haven't been exciting since about 2015, 13, something like that.
Long time.
Yeah.
2012, I
I
think,
mean,
was when D Rose won the MVP and they won 60 games, and that was like
I was going to say
you
2011.
were watching every game.
2012 was probably, I mean, they had some other teams that made, but not even really like deep playoff splashes. You know, I
Right.
would say like those Derrick Rose teams were the last time they were really exciting.
Right.
Like I know they made the playoffs when Butler was the leader of the team, but they never did anything.
Right.
No.
All right. Another thing about the Bulls, them and many other teams around the NBA unveiled their yearly City Edition uniforms, and don't hate them. Don't hate the Bulls. Don't love them. We talked about ahead of this that we feel like the Bulls have gotten worse every year. Their design or their first design was their best.
Yes.
And they've gotten kind of
They've gone
subsequently
downhill,
worse since then.
Chicago
Thoughts?
flag design added in has been the best
Yeah,
thing.
that's
by
why.
far.
Yeah, the first one with the cursive lettering and the red lettering with the blue outline and then the stars on the side. That was my favorite one.
And then last year was the black with the red and blue, right?
Yes, I think. Or was that 2 years ago? And then last year was the blue, light blue with the Bulls face.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah.
But regardless, so that's what I'm saying. I feel like, and this one I think is supposed to be an homage to like the movie Chicago or just that like the Chicago jazz scene because it just has that kind of Great Gatsby feel to it as well. But just based on some of the other jerseys that I've seen, wouldn't even put the Bulls in the top, like not in the top 10 or anything like that even.
Oh, no.
It's so there's so many other really, really, really cool designs.
Yeah. We're
And, like,
probably like
creative
middle
ones
of the
too.
road. We're
Definitely.
not the New Orleans Pelicans bad, that's for sure.
That's true. Pelicans were bad. Jim,
Yeah.
you did a lot of research into the topic, I think. What were your favorites that you
Okay,
saw?
so I love Memphis's. Theirs are,
Yeah.
if you haven't seen them, incredible. I love San Antonio bringing back the Fiesta jersey where it's black and has like the pink,
stripes?
turquoise, and maybe yellow, like going across the chest. I love the Nets have like this blue, red, and white tie-dye, but it's not tie-dye like you think. I'll have to pull up a picture and show you guys.
Don't worry. Dick Aspen will be putting up graphics on the screen for our listeners.
And then Atlanta did a rebranding of their 3 jerseys, and I love that red, yellow, and white colorway. When it's not like electric red, yellow, and white, but it's very bright, and they look good.
Is it like the Dominique Wilkins colors?
I was just going to say that.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Atlanta normally their last few jerseys have been kind of bad actually, but before that they had normally had good jerseys. So it's good to see them go back to their roots. I think Memphis was my favorite one that I saw. I didn't get to look at all of them. I probably should have since we're talking about it, but
Memphis
I just know that New Orleans was terrible. The Bulls were okay, and Miami's will probably be the best. So
Miami's is always
they just the Miami Vice idea is just it just
that
works.
hot pink and that turquoise.
Yeah, it just works. Those jerseys are just so good because they basically just done that same variation where they just move the colorways around, and it still just looks awesome.
So here are the Atlanta ones.
Okay,
they're very clean.
So those are just their new uniforms now, though, right? Those aren't like the City Edition.
No, their City Edition one is
for Martin Luther King.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
It's just so funny though to see teams like the Hawks, who in my lifetime, since I've been watching basketball, have probably rebranded their jerseys like 6 times.
So many times.
And the Bulls have had the same uniforms basically since Jordan was there.
Inception, yeah.
With the smallest little tinkers here and there. It's hilarious. Chicago in general, pretty traditional uniforms all around.
Stuck with their.
So have you guys
at least in our lifetime, not a lot of changes.
Reverse retro that hockey's doing?
I saw that.
So they
haven't
teased
showed the full
Hawks-
jerseys yet,
yes,
have they?
have not showed the full jerseys. No.
Wait, reverse retro? What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't
Like
know.
futuristic or something?
We're
They're
not
like,
sure.
no, they're going back to like the old school jerseys, but it looks like the colorways are flipped.
Yes.
So like they have I think the Phoenix Coyotes, like the old school logo with the actual coyote on there, playing goalie. But the
okay.
jersey is purple, I think, which is one of like the off colors.
Yeah. Oh, so they're just like flipping the colors around?
I think
That's
so.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love jersey stuff like that.
They haven't showed the full jerseys yet.
They're just teasing it. I like it.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
like that a lot.
One of the jerseys that the Hornets, I'm trying to find a picture of it, are wearing this year.
Are these, and it's like their old school teal
Oh yeah, like the
with the pinstripe. Dude, it looks
Those are
so
sick.
Nice.
money.
I always like those.
And what's cool, every team edition or whatever it's called, city edition, is going to have the Jordan logo on it
Yeah, I
Nice.
saw that too.
across the league, which is so cool.
Real quick, let's close up talking about week 10 of NFL action. Bears, Vikings are Monday night this week, so have yet to be played. I know it's Mando Monday, but it's not actually Monday. We record this on Sunday.
And
but it comes to you on Monday.
Everything
Mando Monday.
is
Hashtag
breaking
Monday.
in the Bears' favor. All they have to do is win.
Yes.
So and I'm sure you've all heard, Matt Nagy gave up his play calling abilities or his play calling role. Will that help?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But we'll see now. We'll
Right,
see if
but
it's really him or if it's
right.
just the playbook or it's just the
Yes.
players, which is
Yes.
all plausible. Talent's not great.
Right.
The playbook's not great from what I've seen. So,
Right.
but we'll see. Maybe Bill Lazor's great.
Maybe he is. That would be awesome. Just to have someone who has
Okay.
whose offense doesn't feel so choppy.
Here's the thing, though. I guess long term, all that matters is that the Bears win.
Right.
But if tomorrow the Bears come out and score 30 points, I'm not sure how to feel about Matt Nagy then. Knowing, I mean, as long as he's a good head coach and just does his job, I guess it's fine. But just if they come out and have an amazing offensive game tomorrow, I'm just going to feel kind of shitty about Matt Nagy, the play caller. What's that?
I said, then what? Like,
What a waste.
You
Yeah.
can't
Okay.
help but think you wasted a season and a half.
Exactly.
2
Good
seasons
point.
ago, obviously
Like,
you succeeded, and
Right.
if it comes to that, to where it was just he was so stubborn.
right.
So I'll feel indifferent, but if the Bears win, I'll feel good.
Right.
It'll be
I think-
a weird feeling though.
I think the Bears win, only because I think their run defense is good enough to stop Dalvin Cook, and Kirk Cousins sucks dick. So
That's true.
The
All
Bears
good
are
points.
4-0 against the Vikings in Nagy's era as coach. So and Kirk Cousins has played probably, I mean, and he's played some bad football. He's probably played his worst football against the Bears the last 2 years.
He's also 0 for 8 on Monday Night Football. So
everything's
keep
going
those
in the
trains
Bears.
going.
Everything's
Primetime
going in the
Kirk.
Bears' favor.
which means they'll lose 42-9.
But the Bears themselves are trending in the wrong direction after the 3-game losing streak that they're on. They sat at 5-1 and told the whole world about it, and now they're 5-4. And a loss here puts them at 5-5, heading into the bye week, feeling like a bag of dog shit.
Would the Packers come out of the bye?
Exactly. So, huge game for the Bears. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about it. I just feel like the momentum, like the Vikings are 3-5 right now, Bears are 5-4, but the momentum is so different to where the Vikings have played really well the last 3 weeks. They beat the Packers, they've beaten some quality teams, and they just run on everybody. And the Bears just can't get anything going on offense. So
Right. Well, I don't know, Pat, if you saw this, but one of their starting linemen from Minnesota has COVID. He can't travel with the team. They're doing contact tracing to figure out who he was in close contact with. So literally every break you could ask for is going in the Bears' direction. They just have to fucking win. That's what I'm saying. They
easier said than done. We know this.
Everything this weekend, everything is lining up for the Bears. So right now, if they expand to the 8-team playoff, which I don't know what the parameters of that expansion are, the Bears are in. If they stick to 7, the Bears are 1 behind, and I think Two of the teams are Arizona and the Rams, which are going to continue to beat up on each other in that division. So everything is breaking for us to make the playoffs. We just have to win. Easier said than done. We'll see. But we have the opportunity, and if they can't do it, then that just sucks because shit's going our way.
Here's where my confidence level is at with the Bears right now. I am one shitty offensive quarter away from not watching the Bears anymore this season. That's where my confidence level is in this team right now. I'm so sick of the feeling that I walk away with after watching 3 hours of terrible offense. It's
bad.
I want to start a list and just keep track of everything that I would rather do than watch the Bears play offense because it sucks.
And we're like, we need this team to be not even good, like middle of the road, like 13 to 18 ranked offense. And we're in
first downs are like touchdowns for Bears fans.
Oh gosh.
We celebrate first downs like it's 6 points. It's such a terrible existence sometimes.
It really is. And this again, you're wasting this amazing defense, right? Derrick Henry didn't do shit last week against us. Ryan Tannehill didn't do shit. He made one great pass, literally a perfect pass where Buster Screen had.
Dude, through 3 quarters last week, the Bears offense was a -6. They literally gave up a touchdown.
Yep.
And that's true. And they don't keep track of this, and I'm not going to go back and look into this because it would take way too much time. So if any of our condiments out there are big stat guys,
but Pat's got a good point, I think.
I swear to God, maybe even dating back to the last 2 seasons, but this season, the Bears have spent more time with 0 points on the scoreboard than anyone in the NFL. I am willing to bet money on it. There's been multiple games where they've gone into halftime with 0 points.
I mean, we've scored 7 fucking points in the third quarter out of 9 games, so you have to be right.
I'm telling you, they've had to have spent the most time with 0 points on the scoreboard.
I think the Packers have the least because today was the first game they haven't scored on the opening.
Yeah, they've scored on every opening drive. Dude, Andy, they looked weird today.
It was a weird day. It was a weird weather day around the NFL. They probably had a lot of wind there.
They did, and it was cold. They had a punt returned against them, which I don't think I cannot remember last. I think
Hester was probably the last one who did it.
It was the last time I saw that.
It was a look pass game for sure.
Yeah, that's
going against the Jaguars at home.
Who do they have next week?
Whatever they are. I don't even know.
Colts, I think. Houston. No.
See, here's the thing, though. All that matters is that you're winning at the end of the game, though. Ultimately, because the Falcons have spent the 3rd most time in the NFL this year with the lead.
Yep.
And they suck. So
okay, Pat, here's what else is frustrating. Who in the NFC, there's no far and away better team in the NFC than like there's in the AFC with Kansas City.
I would say the Packers and the Saints are, I think, the 2 best teams in the NFC right now.
Agreed. We saw
Drew Brees might be dead.
Yeah, he got shit knocked in today, and Jameis was Jameis. I mean, they still won, but I mean, if Drew Brees, whose arm is dead and who can't move, has a busted rib,
the Bucs are scary too, but they're just so inconsistent right now.
Yes,
it's tough, but you're right. It's pretty wide open in the NFC. I would probably.
So all we have to do is win, and we have zero confidence they can win. Our schedule the rest of the way: you have Detroit, you have Minnesota twice, you have Jacksonville, and you have Houston. Those are 5 winnable games right there. 5.
Yeah, but I'm at the point where I'm starting to ask myself, do I even want the Bears to make the expanded playoffs to lose 14-11 on a cold ass afternoon? Like it's going to be some stupid score like that. They'll get 2 safeties and a couple field goals, and it's so bad. It's just it's just from the top down.
Leonard Floyd had a day today.
Oh God, 3 sacks and a fumble.
Everyone that leaves here is good, and it's from the top down. Like Pace has totally neglected
the offensive
offensive linemen.
Well, he's tried. He's just not good at drafting offensive linemen or
Well,
quarterbacks.
to his defense this year, his two best linemen are injured.
That's true. You're right.
So I mean,
You're
that
right.
never helps. But there's no depth there.
No.
So that hurts. And now I'm wondering too, like all of a sudden Matt Nagy's just willing to give up play calling duties. I feel like Pace went into his office, was like, my job is on the line. This offense blows. You need to give up play calling duties.
I hope he did. I
And
hope
if
he
they
did
did,
exactly
it's
that.
fine.
Something had to have happened because the last 2 weeks where he was like, it doesn't matter who's calling the plays, like we're just not executing. For that to just flip,
And
like
not only that, he said that if he did make the change, you wouldn't even know because they wouldn't talk about it publicly. And now he opened his press conference with,
right.
I'm so excited for Bill Lazor and blah, blah, blah.
Which to me, and this makes sense, and I didn't hear it from him, but I heard it from writers who said if he's going to make the announcement, he would wait till the end of the week because Minnesota spends the whole week studying his tendencies for play calling.
Sure.
Well, now they have someone else they have. So they look for any little strategy, any little one-up that they can get on the opposing team. So that statement is, we're not stupid. If he doesn't have the call sheet and he's not calling in to the quarterback, we know you're not making the calls. So I don't know how he said we wouldn't notice. The camera's on his ass all the time.
Ultimately, all that being said, I still think the Bears win this week.
They
I
fucking
just-
better.
I just
They
think-
better.
I think this defense has Minnesota's number. And
right.
they just
And Minnesota's defense banged up, not nearly as deadly as they were before. But we also just played the worst ranked defense in football and made them look like a top 10 team.
That's
so.
another thing too that I was thinking about bringing up, but then it was just so embarrassing that I didn't want to bring it up. But the fact that Tennessee's defense is not great and the Bears couldn't
historically
muster anything.
bad on third down, like 60 historically bad on
It was
third
the worst in the NFL since 1991, and the Bears went 2 of 15 on third down against them. So
Thanks.
not good, but Bill Lazor's here to save us.
Also, give
And-
Ryan Nall the ball, not Cordero Patterson. Ryan Nall is a running back. Cordero Patterson is not. Thank you.
I'm okay with that. And Lamar Miller got activated.
He
So
did? Okay, good. He's at
maybe
least a running back.
it's
was a
Miller time,
successful
baby.
running back.
Woo! Bears are going to the Super Bowl. Just kidding.
God, this is
No, they're not.
Prediction?
I think they're going to win 24-21. It's still going to be a tight game.
I'm going to go 28-17. Defense scores 1. It's not all
28
offense.
points.
It's defense scores 1.
Bill
20.
Lazor's going to put up a 50 burger in his first game.
It'd be fucking
How
hysterical.
amazing would that be?
You might have to fire Nagy if they do.
How
Bill
amazing
Lazor's our
would
head
that
coach
be?
now.
Congrats
Right.
on the huge win. You're fired.
Oh my God. If they put up a 50 burger, you wouldn't hear the end of it in Chicago.
Oh, Chicago sports radio would be amazing the next day.
God, they would
Amazing.
just lose their shit.
All right, we're going to wrap it up there. We appreciate all the condiments out there listening. We love you guys and gals. If you don't already, follow us on social media at Bros Let's Talk on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find our episodes on YouTube, where if you watch them there, you should subscribe and hit the little bell button so you get notifications when our videos go live. You can also find the
Ding.
audio version of our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, at anchor.fm/Bros Let's Talk, and on our website, brosletstalk.com. For Jimmy and Andy, this is Pat. Later, dudes.
Peace.
Toodaloo.